All right, good afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody. This is Ernie Ramirez one more time with the E29 Baseball and Softball Journeys podcast. As always, I want to thank our sponsors, Chihuahua Cerveza and the Chihuahua Brewery out in Newport Beach, expanding into New Mexico, Texas, and Florida. If you happen to be in any of those areas, look them up, swing by, get something to eat, and enjoy one of their wonderful beers that they have. Also, 100% Media, the guys at 100% that handle all of our videography, our editing, and our posting. We very greatly appreciate that. And again, Adam Schwartz Real Estate, Adam in Riverside and all over Southern California. If you're looking for anything in the way of real estate or real estate information, give Adam a call. So again, folks, I am very, very pleased to have in studio with me today Coach John Ramirez, the recruiting coordinator for Orange Coast College Softball, and he was nice enough to make the drive out this Friday morning for us. So John, welcome.
How you doing, Artie?
Good. So we've had some text conversations, but this is our first face-to-face, and we were chatting a little bit before, and I read a little bit about your background, and as I had mentioned to you in some of our back and forths, kind of a unique time. You're actually the first guest that I've had in since the new, season expansion or season experiment has come out, and we were just talking about that a little bit. So, prior to this week, they really didn't have a direction for college sports or high school sports or anything. So now they're starting to kind of put something together for you, which kind of puts you guys in a situation now where you've got something to plan for and a timeline, which as an athlete, that's huge. So for you, you started out, I'll have you just go into your background. So kind of give me a little bit about how you came to Orange Coast.
I started back from the beginning. I went to Bloomington High School. I graduated in 1995. I played baseball as a pitcher. Couldn't run. I couldn't hit a curveball, so they put me on the mound. I'm good to go. I wasn't the best, but I worked hard. I wasn't the most gifted athlete, but I did my time in the weight room. People showed me the proper way, and I just loved it. I had to learn to love how to run. I couldn't stand it. I always thought it was a punishment, but as you get older, I'm like, hey, it's good for your body. You get in the weight room, it's good for your body. So long story short, I started at Bloomington High School. I was there 4 years, graduated in 95. Went to San Bernardino Valley College for a year. I was there for about a year and a half. It wasn't a fit. And then I played 2 years at Chaffey College, finished there in 99. And then I got a scholarship to Cal State Dominguez Hills. I loved it. Got to go to Hawaii twice. Loved it. Just all the little small towns around the world. Got to UC Davis, UC San Diego. Just love doing the small towns, and I'm a big food guy. Most of my players know that. So I was there for 2 years. I finished my degree in 2001. I got a degree in physical education, and then I came back home for a couple of years. And then I started coaching at my alma mater at Bloomington High School. Actually, I got my start, Bobby Flores. He actually coaches at Grand Terrace now. Actually, one of my mentors for about 20 years. He's like, hey, come on, coach softball. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. I got ready to handle my own attitude. And so it took him about 2 3 weeks to get out there. And I finally got out there and never went back. So I love baseball, but softball has my heart. It's faster, it's quicker. I do love baseball, not talking bad about it. I did play it my whole life, but it's just kind of like drags on a little bit. Softball is like 7 innings, and then just powerful conversations in the dugouts with my players, my coaches. I love it. It's a fast game, fast pace, and then long story short, at the same time, I was going to Disney Pacific, got a master's in physical education, and then I have an older daughter, 16. She lives out here in the Inland Empire, and then I met my wife now on Match.com. It does work. Been married 9 years. Excuse me. She was my rock. We have a little 8-year-old named Ella, and ended up coaching at Santa Ana High School for about 4 years. That's actually my wife's alma mater, and the same coach, Mr. Glenn Mitchell, was still coaching there. And we went to go watch a football game there, and she's like, hey, why don't you go ask Coach softball? And I'm like, okay. So he had an opening. He's like, you want to come coach here at Santa Ana? I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm fired up. So I was there for 4 years. Mr. Mitchell was one of my mentors for about 4 years. And then I got a call from a coach at Santa Ana College to come be the volunteer. Miss Kim Nutter, love her. She gave me an opportunity. very old school, hard nosed, but I learned a lot. And then our associate head coach there was Amber Gollum. I learned a lot from her. I mean, grinder, very hard nosed on me, but I learned a lot. And then I got the opportunity to switch over to Orange Coast College with Miss Joy Legaspi. She played 4 years. She was a stud at UCLA. She's very humble. She's all about family, and I love it. And me and my other assistant coach is Vanessa Miller, and we're just like brother and sisters. I mean, we know Coach Legaspi. She runs the ship, but she takes all of our ideas in detail, and she puts that all together. At the end of the day, we're a team. So we teach all of our girls that, and I mean, I love where I am. I get paid to wear shorts and get a tan in Orange County. I'm 15 minutes from the beach, and I love it.
Right.
So.
Well, that's interesting. You know, and again, we had talked before about the differences between coaching at the softball level and then coaching baseball level, and then you having started out and playing in college baseball and then transitioning over to that. So just tell me, one of the things that you'd mentioned there, with baseball, you know, there's also that camaraderie, that family environment, but the rosters tend to be bigger.
Yep.
And so at the college level, with softball having that smaller roster, what do you see as the biggest difference with that as far as the tightness of the unit or the tightness of the family?
What the tightness of the family is with the smaller roster for softball, it's you can see everything going on. You know what I mean? There's 3 of us, and I coach first base, coach Miss Vanessa Miller, she coaches third, and our head coach Legaspi, she's in the dugout, and she can control that. You know what I mean? The kids know they're focused. They have like little notepads. They're taking notes. They're trying to pick up signs from the other team and stuff like that. And then with baseball, you got to have 5, 6, 7 coaches to keep eyes on all those guys. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing too, but just like I said, it's just a lot more private responsibility. But you have those veteran guys to take care of the younger guys that come in. So it makes our job a little bit easier. So that's where the unit and the family comes in, and those veteran guys, they just give you that look and be like, no, coach doesn't like that. We're going to take care of that in-house, and we're going to take care of business. So that was my thoughts on that.
So when you decided to, you know, you talked a little bit about getting the opportunity to coach softball. What was your hesitation with that? I mean, and I know because I work with both baseball and softball, but I've never fully committed to a year of coaching or 2 years of coaching. So there had to be a little bit of hesitation for you.
I think a big hesitation is my attitude. I'm short-tempered. You know what I mean? You wouldn't believe it, but I'm calm. But I've probably been thrown out of seven games in my whole coaching career. But just like I said, I'm a pitcher first, a player first, athlete first. If it's something you don't like, you want to go out there and you want to talk to the umpire. But now today, it's the umpire is like, "You're not as a coach." I'm like, "But I saw. She didn't see what I saw, or he didn't see what I saw." And that's my biggest thing. My fuse is just, I mean, I don't get vulgar or cuss or anything. I'm just like, no, I'm missing it. Let's go. When we get this, I mean, you're taking away from the kids. So that's my biggest thing. But let's say baseball-wise, like I said, it's, I don't know. I love it, but softball is just fast for me. It's just very, very, very quick, and I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no downtime.
Yeah, I think initially when I started working with both softball and baseball players, you know, the appreciation that I had for softball, because you start to research it and you start to watch more games on TV and things like that, and you know, you realize that there's some nuances of softball that don't apply in baseball. You know, baseball, there's a lot of stealing, there's a lot of small ball, and it's not as prevalent as it is now. But watching a softball game at the higher levels, you realize that getting that runner to second is a lot more valuable because it's a lot harder to do. And so, you know, just also watching, like you had mentioned, the pace of the game. One of the things that I always admired, and I've told people this before, that I think you have to be a better fielder to be a softball player than you do baseball. You don't have the forgiveness of the grass. You don't have that extra distance between you and home plate. And most of the time, the girls are getting out of the box so fast that you don't have time to bobble the ball. If you don't field that ball clean, it's almost a done deal going to first base. So I feel like in certain aspects of it, you have to actually be better at certain things in softball than you would have to be in baseball.
Yeah, it's like for softball, we have the slapper. I mean, she's already halfway out the box. She's already down the line.
Yeah.
The ball sit down third baseline. She's already going to second base.
Yeah.
baseball, you still have that chance. It's a bigger field. You can wait on the ball a little bit. You can come and get it, backhand it, throw them out. But like I said, softball is just a faster, quicker game. And I mean, like I said, it's kind of like I won't say a disadvantage for the pitcher because they got to hurry up and throw it. They're in the field position. The ball's hit to the right, to the left, and they know this girl will stop it. You know she's very, very fast and take off. And you're like, she's there already.
Right.
So you're already focused on the next batter. So it's like I said, it's a fast, quicker game, and just I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't get enough.
One of the things too, watching some showcase events that we would do, is the corners, how close they would get. And playing third base my whole life, and I'm watching them. My instinct is telling back up. Not even because of they might put the ball in there, but that ball can come faster than you can react to that thing. And some of the girls, no, we need to play up here. I was like, wow, I don't know that I would have the guts to stand that close to some of them during a live pitch.
Yeah, we kind of have a drill. We practice that at OCC where we have the first baseman and third baseman to kind of cheat in, and the pitch hasn't been thrown yet.
Yeah.
But we already know the girl's going to slap. But we know that girl's fast, and we're just like, just do what you can. Just don't overthrow the first baseman and give it an extra base. It's gonna kind of shoot us in the foot one time. But I mean, it's tough. Like I said, it's faster, it's quicker, and like just like you said, the ball's coming at you. Like I'll probably say like 100 miles an hour faster because you have that less time to react.
Yeah.
So it's a bigger yellow ball, and then you have a little white ball. You're like, okay, I can feel this. I mean, I'm not saying baseball's not hit hard. I'm just saying that that's why we have slapping, because the girls they're not built like we are as guys, but they're definitely stronger lower half than we are. So that's where their power comes from.
Yeah, and I actually like the fact that I think watching the two now, baseball and softball, I still appreciate that softball tends to be a little more strategic than baseball does. Baseball's kind of evolved into that big swing, big miss, and we're okay with that, to where softball, there's still some gamesmanship because, like we'd mentioned, you can have one player at second and it may be one for the whole game, or you might get two runners at second base, but they're not as prevalent as they are in baseball, and you don't necessarily have that big swing mentality with softball. It's a lot more strategic.
I think my biggest thing with the softball swing, when I first started coaching high school with Bobby Flores, he kind of showed me the lock and load. They kept the arrestor bat on their shoulder. In my head, I'm like, it's not baseball. And we look at each other. He looked at me and go, it says baseball. I'm like, okay, I have to learn that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then we have get your power head up, your number 4. They're always going to have power in 3 or 4 in the lineup. But it's just a whole different game. You know what I mean? Like I said, they're a lot stronger than lower half than we are. We are upper body. So, but it's amazing. I mean, to learn something new every day about softball, it's awesome. Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question. I would imagine that going from a baseball background into softball, there's a lot of similarities in the games, but there's so many different things as far as you being a coach that you might have to relearn because of the dimensions of the field, because of the way that the game flows, the way that a softball pitcher can pretty much be your shutdown pitcher. So you're essentially facing a number 1 all the time when you go out, to where at the college level you might see that guy once, but then you've got to go your 2, 3, and then maybe bullpen after that.
Yeah, it's like with softball, you can see the same pitcher 4 games in a row. Baseball, it's like every I think in college when I pitched, it was every 5th day a week. I was the third starter, so it was like every 5th or 6th day I would start. And softball, it's kind of like, oh, she didn't get you last game, she's gonna get you this game.
Yeah,
it's just that dominance.
Yeah,
but it's just amazing how they say this is more natural. I believe it now. I've been doing softball for about 18 years now. I'm like, it is more natural because you never hear any girl say, hey, my elbow hurts. Sometimes their shoulder here and there, but like baseball, it's like, oh, my elbow hurts. A lot of innings thrown, and count the pitches all the time. And softball, it's like they're throwing 150, 200 pitches a game, and then they come back out the next game, and you're like, wow, that's crazy. That's like amazing.
Yeah.
Like rubber arm, like when you're a little kid, I can throw that.
Yeah.
I can throw every day. And softball, the exact same thing. So just better conditioning, and that's how they do it. I mean, at first I started coaching softball, I'm like, how is she doing that? Better conditioning, more running, a little bit of lifting, eating right, just maintaining everyday the structure of the body. So It's just, I mean, it's cool. I love it. Something new every day I learn.
Yeah, it's probably pretty remarkable when you watch it, especially being a pitcher at the college level, and then now watching softball pitchers at this level, and then trying to imagine trying to do some of the things that those pitchers do when you were playing. It probably would never even cross your mind to come out for a second game after you just pitched a first game.
Yeah, it's like my first year in junior college and my first year at Chafee, I was like the relief guy. I'd come and throw one inning. I'm like, I can go another. With those 2 or 3 innings of adrenaline, next day you're sore.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a girl in softball that's pitching 4 games in one day. It's like, she's sore.
Mm-hmm.
She gonna need some ice. But it's just amazing. I just can't say enough about it. It's just different. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So
now being the recruiting coordinator, how has that changed your vision of how you recruit players? Again, because you're going to games and you're looking at certain things that are different as far as hitting, as far as some of the fielding, and some of the reflexes, and then having to go out and scout pitchers, and having that baseball pitching mechanics kind of ingrained in your head. Now you're having to kind of relearn mechanics from the opposite end as a softball pitcher.
My biggest thing is when I recruit is we teach and preach family at Orange Coast College, and I see I always watch after a game, players go up to their parents because their parents are there. They're grinding with them. They drive to all the travel tournaments, Arizona, Vegas, wherever they're driving to.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing is how the kids react. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad, or whoever their guardian is. It's not like, hey, can you give me some water? It's like I put all that in perspective because as a coach, you don't want that. Hey, coach, can you grab me that water bottle?
Mm-hmm.
No. You're old enough. You're an adult now. You can walk over there and get it. I mean, not to per se be a jerk about it, but you know what? It's time to grow up.
Right.
Your parents did their job by raising you, giving you morals and giving you manners. You need to use them. I get some days, not going to have good days every day. I get that. I totally understand that. We're all entitled to that. I get that. But to let it drag on, you got to learn to make an adjustment. That's my biggest thing when I go and I recruit. The girl has a 2-2 count, and they're up 1-0, and she gives up the ball, and the game's tied. Biggest thing, I'm not watching the ball. I'm not watching the girl hit the home run. I'm watching the pitcher. Mm-hmm. I'm watching the second base. I'm watching if they're shrugging their shoulder. I'm showing body language. I'll get up and I'll leave. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I'm not going to come back and watch them, but that's part of the game. Mm-hmm. In your head you can be mad about it. You can say what you want. I should have done that, should have done that. That's what baseball and softball, all sports is about. It's all about what ifs. Mm-hmm. To get better, to learn from it. So manners is huge. Body language is huge. And another thing is I learned my first year, especially at OTC, is I was watching something on YouTube the other day. One of the I can't think of the guy's name. Michael Pittman Jr. He's a receiver for USC. Mm-hmm. He kind of did a little intro on how to become a Division I athlete or any kind of college athlete. Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing is slow it down and calm it down on social media. I get it, you're a kid, you want to show this, you want to show that, but I look at all that. I definitely look at that. Like I said, I have $2 of my own. I don't want to see something on there my daughter's not going to do that my players are going to do. You know what I mean? I treat all my players the same as my daughters. Mm-hmm. I don't yell at you. I don't scream at you. But probably the most mad that I get if I take my glasses off, I'm like, you know what? Let's go. You got this? Mm-hmm. We can go at this. Come on, we can do this. I'm not going to belittle you. I'm not going to talk down on you. It's just kind of they have to learn the adjustments, refresh the mind. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like when I was at Dominguez Hill. I don't know if you know about Ken Revisa, like a sports psychologist. Mm-hmm. He'd bring a little toilet in the dugout. And a number 4 batter, he crushed bombs. He hit home runs. When he struck out, he let it bother him to go take his ground balls. Mm-hmm. So we go there, flush it. It's silly, but you put a smile on your face. You don't think about what you did that you didn't do. You didn't help your team this time around. But next time, go back out there and do it again. Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing is just adjustments, and biggest thing is have fun. Mm-hmm. You're there for a reason. You've been busting your hump to get there. Why not enjoy it? So that's the biggest thing. Yeah,
I think it's interesting that you kind of touched on that. And I think we had, I mentioned Coach Rudy Arguelles from RCC, and we talked about the culture at certain schools and how you're also trying to teach players a professionalism. Even though they're amateur athletes, college students, they're still trying to learn how, as you had mentioned, to take negative things and put them behind you, because there's still productivity ahead of you if you can focus on that. And so, for lack of a better word, we just call that professionalism. You in coaching, if you have a bad day on the field, you put together a practice, it didn't run the way you wanted. I can shrug my shoulders, I can hang my head, or I can come back and try to do something better. So that professionalism is big, I think, just in general for any college athlete.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, like you said, it's about adjustments. It's about being on time. It's like right now we have we're bringing in about 27 new faces. I mean, I had all the girls out here in Inland Empire coming to OC State. Thank you for coming. We'll see you guys on Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday workouts. Biggest thing is be on time. It's like we talked before our interview here. Is like if we say 1 o'clock, you got to be there at 12:30. If we say 12:15, you got to be there at 11:45. Don't be rolling in at 12:30, because you got to get your stretching, you got to get your J bands in, you got to get your extra stretching in. If you want extra BP, I'm the first guy there at the field. I'm there an hour early. If you want to get some work in, I'm there. You want to get some ground balls, I'm there to work. I mean, it's my job to make you better, to make you better people, and to show you how to be on time. Because like we talked about before, you're going to get the cool boss. You're going to get that boss who's like, oh, you're 1 minute late. It's cool. It's all right. But they're going to dock you on your paycheck. Then you're upset about it, and you're wondering why. I mean, it's better to be early than late. Right. So I think that was one of the biggest adjustments I had to learn going from junior college to 4-year. My pitching coach, Shannon Stevens, he would always tell us that. I'm like, I'm fine. I can roll at 12:35. We're just a pitcher. We just do PFPs. And he's like, no, he's sitting there like this. Stop clock. Okay, that's 10 minutes. Extra 10 minutes of running because Ramirez is late. I'm like, and they're all mad at me. And I'm like, I don't want that. Yeah. On top of that, I'm the slowest guy on the field. Yeah. So, I mean, I love to run, but I'm not the fastest. So I didn't want that. So I kind of teach that actually to my daughters and to my incoming commits, and our team last year is the same thing. It was the hardest thing to be on time. I mean, they try to get classes from 7 to 11, give yourself a little time to go to Starbucks on campus, get your little coffee or drink or muffin or whatever. But you got to be ready to go by 12:15. Get your running, get your J-bands, get your running in. If you want to get 10 minutes of hitting or fielding, I'm there for you. So it's all about just being on time, making adjustments, and wanting to get better. I mean, that's just how we do it.
Yeah, well, that makes sense too, because all of that extra pre-prep that you talk about, that's on your time as a player. That doesn't come off of our team time as a practice. And I think that's one of the things that, even at the high school level, we've tried to instill in some of the players. If you need extra stretching because you have some injuries, if you need extra treatment, if you need extra J-band work or running because that's what works for you, then it's your responsibility to get there 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes ahead of time to get all that done, so when we're ready to go as a team, you're there with us. On the topic of adjustments, it's kind of obvious right now everyone's going through all different types of things. Your most of your recruiting has probably been done, via Skype or Zoom or something like that. You having the athletic background and then having the kinesiology or sports medicine background, have you put together programs for your returners during this time to do, or how have you been meeting with them?
Yes, we just started classes on Tuesday and Thursdays. Okay. Our head coach, Joy Legaspi, and Vanessa Miller. Vanessa Miller, her and her husband, Bryson, used to own a couple gyms. So she's all about nutrition. She actually does yoga with us twice a week when we do our Tuesday, Thursdays. And then Coach Jody does it also. And I actually get in there. I don't look cool doing it, but I get it done. Like I was telling you, I was walking up the stairs right now. Yeah. And my legs are sore. So I haven't worked out anything in a couple months. So we're all about nutrition, always about water, not big on Gatorades or sodas or anything. More chicken, more tuna. If you don't like it, just mix it up in a salad and eat it. I mean, just to get all your grains and everything. Eat healthy. I don't eat healthy all the time. I always tell my girls, eat healthy during the week. You can have at least one cheat day. My biggest thing is sweets. So on the weekend, I try to get that candy bar on the weekend or whatever, what have you. So I try to lead by example with my players. So like I said, back to Coach Vanessa, she has it. I mean, hey, call me. You want to lose weight, you want to get stronger, you want to get leaner, you want to get bigger, whatever it is. She has a plan. I mean, she's great with that. I even ask her a couple times, hey, what about this? What about that? And it's a beautiful thing. It's great. It's just biggest thing is drink water. Drink water. And you always hear that from the girls, but we can't taste anything. That's the whole idea. Because if you're sitting there drinking the soda, drinking juice, all the sugar, you feel full. granted you have that water weight, but you're going to burn it off.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to burn those calories in the gym, on the treadmill. We're doing yoga. We're out there doing sprints on the track. When you're in the cages taking swings, playing catch out there, running your lines on the field. So that's how we maintain that.
Mm-hmm. So with the online conditioning in your training program, is there anything for the mental side that you guys do? I know you'd mentioned before, Ken. Is there anything that maybe you picked up and brought with you, or is there anything that you do for the program for mental preparation?
I think for the biggest thing for me is I'm the most quietest guy in the field. My players will tell you that. My other coaches will tell you that. But I see and I hear everything. So the biggest preparation is probably talking to someone, making eye contact. And like when I'm on the field with my players, I try not to talk about softball. Mm-hmm. Hey, how was your day? What'd you eat today? How's your dog? How's your sister? How was your drive in today? You know what I mean? Some of them are commuting to our school from out here, or I mean, they're living with a family member out in Orange County or wherever it is. And biggest thing is, if you want to know more about your players and preparation, I always do reverse psychology. Ask about food, like I said, their dog. Mm-hmm. How was your day? Hey, how was your mom this morning? Did you call your mom this morning? Did you call your dad? Call your grandma? And I always get that. One of my players last year, she was our second base. Why do you always ask us that? I go, do you want me to beat you down with softball questions? Like, no. Because you're thinking about that when you go home, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I want you to just be open, be free. I mean, be relaxed. Yeah. So by the time you get back to the field, hey, you know what? You know what you need to work on. I mean, you're growing as an adult. You're getting older. You need to learn this as you have a family, have kids of your own. Teach them these skills, these adjustments, these things. So that's how we maintain that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was actually kind of leads me into another question. We'd talked before about the transition from baseball to softball, and from what I've noticed, and now you have daughters of your own. Mm-hmm. So when I watch our trainers at the facility work, I've noticed that softball players focus and become more determined a lot younger than boys. Yeah. I mean, we were both teenage boys at one point, and our focus was nowhere near what some of the 5, 6, 7-year-old softball players that come in for. The girls seem to be more driven, more focused, more determined at a younger age. So have you found that to be a little bit harder to navigate around as far as being able to kind of put things aside and refocus, or has that been more of a plus?
I think it's been more of a plus, but then sometimes it's too much, like the one-on-one training and all that. Some of it's like trying to keep it simple. I don't want to take away from the one-on-one coaches out there, because I do my lessons too also, and just make it simple. You know what I mean? It's kind of like try to work on something new every time. More driven. Softball, yes. They're more focused, yes. Baseball is more trying to put this nicely, trying to more focused on one player.
Sure.
Like baseball is a team, but more as we talk, us as guys, you can tell us to call us every name in the book, and we're the hero, we're the champion, we're the cool guy. But softball, it's faster, it's quicker, and you see after every time they get it out, even if they error, what do? They run up the circle. Okay, hey, I got your back. They do a little glove tap or whatever, high five, smile, crack a joke, catcher comes out, and they're back at it. I mean, baseball, you don't have that much time.
Right.
It's like, that's a timeout. I mean, that's one timeout. It's 2 timeouts. Okay, you got to take your pitcher out.
Yeah.
Softball, it's like they come together. You even see the outfielders come running into the circle. Hey, I saw this. We need to work on this. We need to get better. And that's basically how just make that adjustment.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, too, that I noticed that with softball, again, and you had mentioned right now a minute ago how you kind of break the ice, or you kind of get them not to constantly focus on softball. I think sometimes when you have those players that are just so determined, so driven, sometimes they overthink everything, and it's hard for them to overcome and reset after those mistakes. And so, I do the one-on-one lessons as well too. So a lot of times I try to make them light, and you have to learn to read your players. I'm sure you know that. And that's a good way to do it. If you ask them about things that are going on, especially at the age level that they are in junior college, so much of how they're going to show up on the field, whether it's practice or the games, depends on what's going on outside of the field.
Yeah, you can always tell when the players walk in. It's like with our players, we have a Starbucks on campus. I mean, pretty blessed to have that. And I know a certain group, they're always running late. Get on my phone, like, hey, let's go. I know you're at Starbucks. Get your drink. Let's go. Drive down. Let's go. Hurry up. So they gotta hurry, do all their routine they do every day before practice, and just biggest thing is just to show them when they walk in, say, hey, how you doing? How's your day? I mean, make eye contact, crack a smile. They might have taken the biggest test of their life. I did horrible on that. I'm still thinking about it. Hey, you know what? The test is over. You can't change it, right? It's like when you make an error, you can't change it. Just kick it under the rug. Okay, let's go. Shoulders back. Take another ground ball. Let's do this. So just kind of maintain that. I wouldn't say ignore it, but just to kind of show them how to make the adjustment to it, how to think about past the error. Past I did bad on the test. Hey, I did good on that test. Hey, I studied my butt off, but I got a C in it. I was hoping I got an A in it. Hey, you know what? You passed. I mean, you got through it. Come to the field. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, plus you can't be there. We're down by the beach. So I always say, hey, go down by the beach, drive 15 minutes down the road, stick your feet in the water, drive home. You know what I mean? It's a whole new day. So.
Yeah, it's interesting with younger players. I mean, and you can even include some of your four-year university players because they're still all about that same age. And a lot of it is, you know, as we've talked with other coaches here, your job is based around sports, but you're there for the kids to help them develop into good citizens, good people, good parents, good coaches, you know, good employees down the road. So much of it is used through the sport, but what you're trying to accomplish is far bigger than that.
Yeah, it's good you said that. Our coach, our head coach, Joey Legaspi, excuse me, what do you call it? Every practice or every game, she always has former players come. Hey, is Coach Legaspi here? Yeah, let me go get Jody real quick. We have, she has a girl's going to be a lawyer. I believe one girl's going to be, she's a policeman now. It's just cool how she's like, hey, that girl was here 5 years ago. Hey, this girl was there 2 years ago. Imagine that girl came in. I mean, didn't really have direction, but I showed her. I gave her a couple tips, and she ran with it. Yeah. And that's an awesome feeling to see that. I want to keep that tradition going at Orange Coast College. I love that. I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's kind of like when you coach Little League and you see the little boys grow up. And you're like, man, I remember when you were little. I remember when you had a bad day. We were sitting the balls out doing one-on-one stuff, or we're playing catch, and we're talking about baseball cards or the football game on Sunday or whatever it was. And you see him now as a grown person, girls and adults. It's like, that's cool. And in your back of your head, you're like, hey, you know what? I helped with that. That was cool. It's a great feeling. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, and especially, too, it's tough because even, you know, at the high school level, a lot of times players that you'll talk to, they kind of get the feeling like they need to be everything at that moment, right. 16, 17, 18. And then even at junior college, you know, but a lot of times it's hard for younger people, and we were there, to understand that this is all part of a process, you know, and you may not figure it out as a senior in high school. You may not even figure it out after your second year of junior college. You may not figure it out until you've graduated and halfway through your master's program or whatever else you're doing. And so, you know, just getting them to see people that come from the same place that they were and tell them the same thing. Hey, I was right there where you were. I had no idea what I was going to do after softball, and here I am now. You know, having those role models that are so much more relatable makes it a lot more gratifying for you as a coach to be able to provide your current players with that opportunity.
I think us as coaches now, if we know the things that we knew now, we'll be like, hey, you know what? I'd be playing professional baseball or minor league baseball, or
sure.
But that's why we're coaches. I mean, we help our kids see things that they won't see. Sometimes it's the opposite. They show us things that they can do better. I mean, we're just become a unit, become a family, help each other out. And it's funny you say, because after I was done at Dominguez, I wasn't done playing. I'm like, I love this. I want to keep doing this. But you want to go down to playing independent ball, this and that. And, you don't want to get heartbroken. But I mean, I already knew I was done. I mean, but you know what? Coaching's there. I mean, I love it. I can still work out. I can still get up and watch a baseball game, watch a softball game, whatever, what have you. And just, I know I was watching a documentary on, might have been the Michael Jordan documentary, or it was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant said, when I was done basketball, I was done. And you have those guys still trying to hang on. I was done. I mean, I loved it. I love what I did. Got to go to Hawaii, upstate Washington. I get to play in Alabama. I just love it. I mean, I could probably name all the food places I went to. So that's how much I remember just traveling. And it was fun. But like when I was done, and I knew I was going to coach. That was my next. That was my next drill, my next tie. Like, hey, this is cool. I get to come to the field. I mean, I get to work out. I get to hit some fungo. I get to run with my players. Get a workout. I get to wear shorts. Get a tan. That's cool to me. You know what I mean? And I get that question sometimes from my players. Did you want to play pro ball? I'm like, yeah, we all wanted to. That's your ultimate goal.
Sure.
But if it doesn't work out, you're always gonna have plan B no matter what. So.
Yeah, that's one of the things too that we've chatted about with other coaches. And you know, when you make that transition, there's a lot of evolutions of coaching. And you know, you're a younger guy, so you haven't reached all of those yet. But when you step away from actually playing and you kind of come to grips with, well, you know, I could probably hang on here, I could probably hang on there. That's one part of it. And I think the other part that happens is you have to be able to step away from yourself as a player and understand it's not about me anymore. I'm out here coaching for them. I'm here to relay information and pass on knowledge. I'm not here as a competitor. I'm not here to try and take their job. I'm not here to tell them about all the great things I did in the past. And that's tough for some guys to do. And that's why coaching isn't always for everybody.
Yeah, I think like I said, the hardest thing for me to go in the transition to coaching is my attitude. I mean, like I said, my fuse is like, so once I maintained that, I can coach, and it just became like another type of love. You know what I mean? Just it's just amazing. Like I said, I love to be out there, and just like I said, you learn from your players. Your players learn from you. You learn from your coaches, and just something's new, and just the transition. It's hard. Sometimes you want to go out there and throw a wig on and be like, "Hey, this is how you do it." But hey, you know what? You have to let them learn to fail to learn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, sometimes the light goes on. Sometimes it goes on a week down the road. Oh, this is what Coach was talking about. Hey, this is what Coach Miller or Coach Legaspi was talking about. I'm like, oh, yeah, that was it. You know, that's cool. You got it. And then they always say, oh, I apologize. I mean, we're not always going to get it like that. Sometimes it takes time. I mean, that's why you do reps to get better. Yeah. You focus. Keep your head down. You don't see the bottom of your head when you field. You stay low when you throw the ball. Just that's the biggest thing. So.
Yeah, it was one of the things I used to tell my players when I was coaching, and they'd ask me, you know, why I wasn't very animated during the games. You know, everything for me was more just watching and learning. And I knew as a player, things that you hear people yelling from the stands, your coaches yelling, it's just kind of noise. You're not really focused on it because you're in the moment. And there was a time in practice where we would go back and reevaluate everything that happened. And I said, you know, a lot of it's like sitting and watching, as a parent, watching your kid struggle with a test, or, you know, you see him climbing up that ladder at the playground, and you're like, oh, he's going to fall. But you know they need to do it to learn. And I said, so if I jump in and I catch you guys every time you fall, or I help you up that step when you're struggling to it, you're never going to get anywhere, you know. And so that's the hardest part, is sitting there knowing that you're going to be better through that adversity. And I just have to sit here and be there to help you adjust afterwards. I can't always stop you from going through that.
It's like the biggest thing in softball. It's a fast game, but you can't be afraid to fail. I mean, yeah, you have your best player, quickest player playing center and short, and you have your slapper. I mean, they're not going to get a hit every time. I mean, they're not going to beat that throw out. But when you're coaching first base as a coach, you're like, they're safe. Because, you're being biased, but in your eyes, you're like, they're safe every time. Because you know how hard they work. You want the best for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just failure is a part of the game. Coaching, you fail sometimes. Sometimes you call timeout, put that pitcher in, and be like, hey, you know what? I shouldn't have put her in yet. And then take full responsibility. Hey, that was my mistake. We lost the game. I take that credit. You mean, I'll do my best and it won't happen again.
Sure.
I mean, so just like I said, it's all about failure, and the next day you just get better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know, as you know from the girls that you've been working with, some of them are going to come back and want to be in your position. Right. You know, they're gonna enjoy that part of it, being able to help a player pick themselves up when they've had a bad day, because hey, we've got to come back tomorrow and try to rectify this. Or, you know what, yeah, you were 0 for 4 today, but we're going to need your 1 for 4, 2 for 4 tomorrow. We can't have you in the tank. And that's the part about coaching, is it's a different way of motivation. You know, as a player, you actually had a hand in helping that team on the field physically. As a coach, you don't have as much involvement, but you're there more on the mental side. You know, if you see your pitcher starting to get in the tank or get in her own head in the first inning, I got to figure out a way to get her out of that in a hurry, because we need her the rest of the game. So that the challenge is more on the mental side as a coach, I think.
Yeah, the biggest thing is the mental challenge for me when I made the transition to softball. especially with baseball. It's like, the catcher calls timeout, go over there, say something funny to the pitcher, break that ice, kind of change his mindset, get him relaxed. Softball, you kind of see your catcher out there like almost every other pitch. I mean, just if you have a catcher that's a leader or shortstop that's a leader, you'll be fine. As a softball coach, you don't have to go out there every time. But when they get in the dugout, kind of put your arm around them, like, hey, we need to work on this, get better. And by that time, junior college level or the 4A level, you see the players say, hey, coach, you know what? I know what I need to work on. I mean, they made that transition to being an adult, a better player, better listening skills. They're making the adjustment already for you, but for us to reassure them, hey, you know what? Coach is really watching. He cares what I'm doing. He really cares as us as a unit, as a family. So it's a fun part when you get that feeling that they kind of see things they didn't do right, or they did do right, or they did do wrong. I mean, when they correct their own mistakes, it's kind of cool because they're paying attention to what you're saying, what you're trying to teach them.
Yeah.
So,
well, and you might correct me on this, but I kind of think too sometimes girls between that high school and college age and boys between that high school and college age just have a total different approach to it, to where I think girls tend to be more supportive, and if they see someone struggling, and they're more proactive. So if your catcher sees something that she's more likely to act on it, to where in baseball they're gonna, he's fine. If he's struggling, they know he's struggling. That's coach will go out and take care of it. It's not my place to say anything. Guys tend to be more focused on themselves. Oh, I'm 2 for 2. I'm doing well. He's struggling. I'll let the coach go deal with it.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're carrying a bigger roster this coming season, and we always tell our girls, it's not set in stone. You're all going to battle to come in, get a position. I'm not saying that person's going to play every inning or every game, but they're going to get a day off. So when you're on the bench, you got to be the same player. You got to be that person's cheerleader at that position. Or hey, your best friend might be the first baseman, the right fielder, or the pitcher. When they come in, give them a high five. I mean, let them know that you're watching, you're into the game. Hey, you know what? You need to work on this, you need to work on that. Hey, this is what I got from the last batter. You had a one-on-one count, you threw a rise ball, and she had a shot to right field and the runner on the second scored. I mean, to take that into consideration, that you have cheerleaders that are going to be there and comfort you and let you know what you did do right, to keep that momentum of the game going, the momentum of, hey, I got your back no matter what. For winning or losing, hey, this is what we have to work on. So that's how we do that.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, it's always a constant learning thing, as a coach. And like I said, just about the time you feel like you've got it all mastered, something happens. And from coaching, as we talked about before, it can come from both sides. It can be something on the field. It can be something off the field that changes the dynamic of the team. Kind of leading into the situation we're all in right now, you've had a lot of extra time at home and a lot of extra time to do things, as we mentioned, online through Skype, Zoom, whatever it is. How do you think you're going to readjust back to that coaching grind when things open up or get back to somewhat normal?
I can't wait.
Okay, there's different. We've had different levels of it, and it's a fair question because you're kind of on the younger end. So, if you've been doing it for 35 years, like that's all I've done. But I appreciate the break. And then you get some of those coaches that they may just be starting into it and they're still trying to find a permanent place or find some place where they think they can stay for a while. And then something like this happens, and all of a sudden, wow, I've got all this time at home that I've never really had a chance to do. And then you go past that point where you're like, wow, I really kind of like being home on the weekends, or I really kind of like coming home at 6 o'clock rather than 7:30, 8 o'clock.
I think my biggest thing is it's like a running joke with my wife. It's kind of like on the weekends I try to leave my phone in the room. I'm not working, but she's hearing the buzzing. Just shut it off. You're not the softball field.
Right.
You mean you're not with your coach. You're not with your players. Just shut it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I go in there, sneak away. And, okay. I'll leave it there. So I'm nonstop. My phone, I got an extra charger in my car, and I get to work and I plug it in. I'm like, hey, my battery's gonna die. I gotta call this guy to call that guy. I gotta call this recruit. I gotta email this parent, that guy, or what have you. But I love it. It's nonstop. But being home, I really value what my wife does. I really just thought, you sit there, you call doctors and tell them a nice way to pay their bills, but it's a grind.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're sitting there in your chair for 8 hours, or you got to get up, get a stretching, get a walk in, what have you. And then we have both our daughters and a little one, just a little gets 5-minute naps, and she's got like a million miles of energy. Hey, let's go swim in the pool, Daddy. Okay, I'm out there swimming with her. Okay, I'm tired. Oh, let's go to the field, Dad. Hey, let's go ride our bikes. But it's a beautiful thing to be home. I love it. I enjoy it. I mean, it really puts everything in perspective. I actually cleaned out my car, running joke with my wife also. I got all my softball stuff in there, but it's to be an extra hand at home. It's always awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, you appreciate each other more. I mean, you're married, your kids appreciate it. You spend more time with them. It's not always at the field where, that's our first love, that's our joy. But if we can go to the beach for 2 hours and not be at the field, I mean, to enjoy this time, family's everything.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
Yeah, it's so different because, as you mentioned too, you have essentially two families, and maybe even three, depending on if you were a teacher on campus. You have your faculty, you have your coaching, and your players. And so as a coach, while you're spending more time at home and you're not on the road going to showcases and going to different games and things like that, you do start to miss that part of it because it attaches you with other coaches, with other recruits, things like that. And that's one of the things that we had mentioned before. In doing this, the original plan was I would catch teams as they came into UCR, as they came into CBU, RCC. And then it just kind of evolved into this. And now, I have quite a few coaches across the country that I could probably do something online with, but sure. I still enjoy the back and forth. Like I said, you and I met because of this. I didn't have any idea that you were from Bloomington or what you did and what you coach, and so it's always good for me to be able to sit down and do this because I don't even know when we're going to have this chance again. If things go back, let's just say January 1st, you're not going to have time on Friday to drive in and sit down and hang out for an hour and chat, or, you're always going to be en route somewhere. And that's one of the things I think that, in spite of everything that's going on, I really hope the players and the coaches kind of take grasp on the things that they wouldn't normally be able to do because, realistically, we don't know when you're ever going to have this time again. It's important.
So it's funny you say, like, we have our Zooms on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like, I call our players probably like every 2 weeks, see how they're doing, if they did vacation time or spending family time or what have you. I'm like, just try to be positive. Hey, we'll be on the field soon. We'll get there. I know they're probably tired of me saying that, but I got to tell myself that also because I love being on the field.
Yeah.
My coaching staff and I, we have been on the field since February when all this happened. I'm like, that means I can't be on the field. I can't hit fungo. Campus is closed. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's rough, but we maintain what we can and just try to be positive, try to keep them in shape with our Zooms online twice a week. And I know our head coach, Joey Legaspi, she offers the extra weight rooms on Friday. She go in there and do another Zoom. And our players are taking advantage of that. So by the time we get to the field, we'll be ready to go. And I know some of the girls, they send us videos. Hey, this is what I'm working on, Coach. What do you see? Hey, I'm playing catch. Why does my arm hurt? My icing ride? Am I doing my J-bands right? Just to keep them involved, keep them in the window of, hey, you know what? We're going to get back there.
Yeah.
It may be like a far jump over the mountain, but we're going to get there together and we're going to do it together. And I just can't wait to be on the field. I mean, it's killing me inside, but I'm being patient.
Yeah.
I mean, just like I said, I love fungoing. I just love being out there. And I mean, I'm excited. It's like a little kid in candy store. I just can't wait to get back out there. So it's going to be amazing when we get out there. We'll be ready to go.
Well, and you can attest to this too, but I think a lot of people, unless you've actually coached, it's hard to understand that for a coach, being on the field is your therapy sometimes. You probably know those coaches that love to cut the grass. I have guys that will tell me I love to drag the infield, just getting on there with my headphones and going in a circle. Or, I know guys that they love to do the mound. They can have someone else do it, but I enjoy doing it. It's kind of like their pottery or their, whatever they do. And I'd tell parents that I used to go, when I coached at Rancho Verde, we were up on top of this hill, and we were away from the school, so it was a little bit of a difference. So when you were up there, if you weren't hitting ground balls or anything, it was stone silent. And so I used to love to go up there, and before the kids would come, I'd just take my bag out with me. I'd go out to center field, and I'd just kind of lay there and take like a light nap. There was a nice breeze. The grass was always nice and green, and we were up high, so you couldn't hear the cars on the street. You couldn't hear anything down on the campus. I said, so a lot of times being away from the field, as a coach, you don't have that outlet to relax or kind of dump things off your brain, because sometimes you're not a faculty member. You're coming from another job. You're a walk-on, and you might have other things going on at home or, in your personal life. That's your outlet that you don't have right now.
Yeah, it's like I like to get to the field early. Do extra BP in the cage. My players, I do ground balls. And, we have a maintenance guy. He does beautiful job with our cutting our grass and did a beautiful job doing the infield. But once practice is over, I'm like, hey coach, hey Jody, want to drag the field? Sweet, get on John Deere. I mean, I have my 8-year-old with me. She jumps on with me to drag the field. It's like soothing.
Yeah.
So my next probably my obstacle is I want to cut the grass. I want to learn how to cut it that low. Like when you go like the nice Angel Dodger Stadium, like, man, how do they do that?
Yeah,
it's like amazing.
The numbers or the lines going the same way. Yeah, it's
like,
an art.
It's got like the squares. Like you drop a piece of food on, you still I'm like, it's fine, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just very soothing to me. It's like I love it.
Yeah, it's different. Like I said, it gives something back to you, and it gives you an outlet that a lot of people don't understand. You know, some people go to the gym, some people like to run, some people, you know, but for a coach, being at that field, it's kind of soothing. And you know, when you walk through those gates, everything that was on the outside just kind of fades away, and I'm focused on the kids and what we're going to accomplish. And, you know, the goal always seems to be positive when you're on that side of the lines.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, like I said, as coach, you have your rough days, you have your down days, you have your days where like practice is already over. Damn, that game was quick. Wow, it went by quick. So it's kind of like just, I mean, it's what you make of it. I mean, you walk in happy, you might not walk out happy. You might walk in grumpy, you might walk out happy. It would be the opposite. But I just always have to remember, not everybody gets to do this.
Right.
I mean, not everybody enjoys it. I mean, not everybody takes the time with that one player or takes that time just to shut down practice. Hey, you know what? We're not doing good today. We need to pull our heads out. We need to get this done. I mean, let's work as a unit. Let's make it better. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's a blessing. It's fun. I love it. I mean, every time I walk to that field, I may be tired from working graveyard, but you know, I get there, I'm like, let's go, guys. It's fun. It's cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just make somebody else's day brighter. It's just, it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to hear that. So on the recruiting end, going back to that, you had mentioned you have, I forgot the number, brand new players coming in. So what is your roster size going to look like when things do get going?
Our goal is we have 27 right now.
Okay.
Our goal is to at least carry 20. We'll probably have 5 that'll probably redshirt, and then like how junior college works. Sometimes they come in and they understand, hey, this is too much for me.
Sure.
I can't hold a job. I gotta go to class. I gotta hold 12, 15 units. I gotta be home and pick up my little brother. I gotta have a lab at nighttime after practice. I go, am I really be able to handle this? So they kind of fall off, or they come up to, hey, you know what? This is too much for me. Can I like redshirt? Or, hey, that's fine with us. I mean, if it's too much and kind of gradually you want to work yourself into it, I mean, that's why you have that red shirt. I mean, it's not always for you to get hurt or when you get hurt or what have you, but that's our goal, to keep 20 on roster, and then we'll have 5 that travel with us in case something happens. And then there's going to be some red shirts. Like I said, there's going to be some that's going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to get a job and work and go to school. I mean, it becomes a grind. You know what I mean? We get that question as our coaching staff. How did you guys do that? And I go, you know what? The first person I would ask is Coach Jody and Coach Vanessa. They played at the top level, top tier softball, UCLA and San Diego State, Fresno State, and it becomes a job. You get 5:30 workouts. You got to eat. You got 20 minutes to take a shower. If that time you want to go to class, stinky or smelly, throw some pajamas on. You got to be at that lab at 7:30 in the morning.
Right. And
by the time you sit down, you're nodding out.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to get a snack in me. I got to get a Starbucks. I got to get a drink in me. And some of the parents are just like, oh, my kid's on scholarship. And it's a job. I mean, just because, like we talked about, just because you're on scholarship doesn't mean that red carpet's going to be rolled out for you once you sign a dotted line. It's like, you got to earn your spot. It's like my pitching coach told me at Dominguez Hills, Shannon Stevens, there's 10 guys that want your job. You can't just kick back and be like, oh, I'm going to drink Kool-Aid today, and be like, I got this, I'm on scholarship.
Yeah.
What about that walk-on guy? I mean, he's going to bust his hump and he's going to take your job from you.
Yeah.
You're going to be on the bench and you're going to be like, how you doing? I take your job. So, like I said, it's a grind. I mean, every day is heavy. Every day, as a student athlete, you probably don't get enough sleep. I mean, that's why you got to eat right. I always tell my player, eat chicken, eat tuna is the best thing. So, drink your water. So, it's a grind. So, some people, when they get there, they can handle it because they've done travel ball. They played 5, 6, 7 games in a day when it's 120 degrees in Arizona, and like you love to be out there. You love that grind, and you get that kid. It's like, man, I'm done. It's hot. I don't want to be out here. I want to be home. I want to be drinking my Starbucks, doing my homework in some AC building on campus. But like I said, it's a grind. We teach them we're hard on them, but we give them tough love. Like, hey, you know what? You need to pick it up some. I know you're tired, but you need to pick it up. It's a privilege to be here. Not everybody gets to do this, to be on the field with these other 27 girls or what have you, and just enjoy it while you can. Because when you look back, you're gonna be like, you know what? That's why I worked so hard to get that degree, to get that job, to provide better for my family. So that's how we attack that.
Well, I think one of the things that we would always ask players, when I would do things with the baseball factory or softball factory, get them to understand that getting in is one thing, staying in is a totally different thing.
Right.
Once you get into the program and you become a part of that team, the expectations just continue to grow, because making that squad is part of it, but then there's the travel, and then you're also a student athlete. And so having to make that adjustment, 6 a.m. weight room, like you'd mentioned, and then the practices and the classes, and then the tutoring if you need that, and then the extra work and practice if you need it, or the extras to just maintain your eligibility. And I don't know that a lot of kids really understand that. Even in your more competitive travel programs, it's just the softball part of it.
Right.
But now you throw in the expectations, and then like you'd mentioned, there's a lot of kids that come in that have outer line circumstances. Maybe their obligations at home have to be factored in. Maybe they have to work because they're not on scholarship. So there's just so many things that I think kids don't always factor in, and they just kind of look at the fun part of it, of playing softball games. But when you get to that level, you're practicing 2-3 times more than you're actually playing games.
Yep. The biggest thing with that is I struggled in school. I'm not gonna lie. I'm awful in math. It's brutal. English, I was okay. History, I loved it. Science, I loved it. But I had a tutor on the bus when I played at Dominguez Hills. Our number 2 guy, he was a couple years younger, but he was a brainiac. He's a smart guy. He helped me out. He helped me pass math. He helped me do a little better on my English and all that stuff. I was lucky to have that, because we didn't have tutors on buses. Not every school can provide for that. At the D1 level, yeah, that's a beautiful thing if you can have that. But if you have a teammate that can help you, that's had that instructor, or if you had that class together, just work together and it's easier. You may not get the grade that you want, but you get a C, you pass. The next time you take the higher level math, the higher English, or whatever it is, just try to do better. It's the biggest thing. So tutoring is tough, because some of the kids feel like, I don't want to go tutoring. I don't want my teammates to see me. I don't think I'm dumb. But it's not even about that. It's about sharpening your skills, your mindset. And, hey, I'm in class. Oh, that's what they were talking about. Yeah, I understand. I can do that now. I went to tutoring. I got the extra help. It's always good to learn more.
So one of the questions for the kids that might be listening, any of the high school kids, just off the top of your head, what are some of the schools that you've recruited, some of your new incoming players? Just kind of throw out the different areas so they can see how far you expand out as far as what you're looking for.
Yeah, we have a couple girls from Redlands High School, Redlands East Valley, Corona Centennial, Fontana Aruba Hills. Hope I got that right. I always struggle on that one. We have about 14, 15 girls from the Inland Empire coming in, and we're super excited, and it's going to be fun. Just like I said, Coach Legaspi let me come out and recruit the players that I wanted, and we sat down and we decided on who we're going to recruit and who we're going to bring in, and just bring the proper recruit in, and it's going to be fun. We're super excited, and just like I said, I know, I don't know if I can say this, but I'm bringing the IE to Orange County. To me, it's going to be fun. It's going to be, everywhere you go, it's different softball. Like up in Northern California, it's kind of like slower pace. Southern Cal, it's kind of fast paced. It's more country. In NorCal and SoCal, it's more like busybodies. But it's fun when they meet up, because you see the different strategies from the coaches and the players, and it's cool to learn that. Because always as a coach, as a player, you always want to learn more. Sure. So I'm all over. I go to most of the camps, and I love traveling. The first thing I look up is the food places, of course. And I always ask the players, get to know some of the recruits, even some of the players from out of state. Hey, what's a good place to eat out here in Vegas or Arizona? Hey, I'll check that out. We have a couple girls, 2 girls from Canada coming in, super excited. Wow. I learned about a tree, I guess they call it poutine. It's kind of here. It's kind of like fries with cheese on it. Okay. They have their own sauce, and I want to try it. I'll try anything once for food-wise. So we have a girl from Hawaii coming. Okay. She found us. She reached out to us, and super excited. And just 5-tool player, and like I said, see the smile on my face. I just can't wait.
Yeah.
Just February 13th comes, I'm ready to go. I got my phone goes in my trunk, and I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super excited.
So between the two, recruiting and game coaching, which do you like better?
It's good and it's bad. Recruiting, it's less time with my family, but that's why we have like FaceTime and all that. And my 8-year-old calls me and says, "Hey, Daddy, coming home tonight?" I'm like, "No, love, I'm gonna be here 3 days, but we'll go and get some ice cream at Sonic, our favorite place, or what have you." And, okay, that's cool, Daddy. All right. And then I have my oldest daughter. She's kind of in her groove. She's at that stage. She's 16, 17, or teenagers get.
Yeah, I got this.
And yeah, I got this, Dad. I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you see him, when you pick him up, it's kind of like, oh, you give him a hug, and then my wife gives me that look like you're going out again. But like, I do it because I love it. It's part of my job. It's what I want to do. My end goal is to get paid to wear shorts and get a tan and come home every day at 3:00. Go pick up my little one, go to the park. Go pick up my oldest one. We can go to the movies or what have you. And that's the part of the downside. But coaching first base, I love it because some of my players like, "Coach, you're yelling at me." Like, I'm not yelling at you, making sure you can hear me. I'll be at second base. I'll be saying, "Back." I'm like, whatever you do, if you look at me, just make sure you go back to the base.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to stand there, they're going to tag you out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I try to, in practice, I try to be more vocal. So in the game, I'm not shocked. Because like I said, I'm one of the quietest guys in the field. But I love what I do. But to answer your question, probably recruiting, it's, you get that point where you miss your family, but you have a job to do. You want to bring in the best player. You want to build a dynasty, and you want to get the right player for your program. So that's my biggest thing. And my wife, my 2 daughters are my rock. If they would ever come to me and say, "Hey, you know what? It's time. We want you home." I have to make that choice. Family's first, no matter what. And my coaching staff knows that because they have kids. You know what I mean? They're grinding. You know what I mean? Coach Vanessa Miller, she has 2 beautiful boys that play travel ball. Her husband's involved too. He's a hard worker. He does construction. And then she has an older daughter, Lex, that's going to Liberty on a full-ride scholarship. And she's got to be 3 places at once. There's only 2 of you, but there's got 3 kids. You got to maintain that.
Right.
And then Coach Jody and her husband Rhino, they have 2 beautiful daughters. They're 5 and 6. They play basketball. One that likes cooking. And hey, let's do this. Let's switch off. Hey, it's you may be with your family, but you may be thinking about softball. It might be the opposite. When you're in practice, you might be thinking about your family. But in the ending result, it's all going to work out. But there's going to be a day where I don't have to step away, and I'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
I'll totally be fine with that.
So does your oldest daughter play softball?
Yes, she did. Yeah, she's just a student now.
Okay.
It's funny because she does come to the games, and she does say, "Hey, why did she do that? Why did she do that? She missed her cut." And I'm like, I didn't see it. I'm like, "Hey, thank you. I appreciate that." I go back and then tell my staff, "Oh, we didn't see that either." The older they get, the more they you may not think that they're listening, but they hear everything you're saying. So, and then like my little one too, she says she's taking a break from softball right now. She's my little lefty, and she does jiu-jitsu and boxing, and I think she'll play softball down the line. Me as a dad see that, but if she doesn't, I'm happy with that. So, but just to learn from my kids of what I taught them, what they learn from me, and what they teach us every day as parents, it's a beautiful thing. And just like I said, I love it. Learn something new every day. You think you know a lot, but in the end, the result, you're like, "Hey, I can learn something new today."
Sure.
So
as far as the reason I asked that question, because when I had Rudy in here, he talked about having to coach his son, not having, but coaching his son when he was at JC at RCC with him. And I was just curious if, down the road, one of your daughters was going to be coming through OCC with you, and you would have to kind of navigate that, keeping the coaching dad and the dad separate, which is kind of tough. I don't know if that's happened to anyone or you've actually.
Yeah, I coached on and off my daughter up until she was about 12, and I knew when she was 12 I was done. I couldn't do anymore. And I feel when you're coaching your kids and they start calling you dad, not coach, you're done.
Yeah.
I had to learn that because I know I was probably a bit harder on her than some of the other kids. You want your kids to kind of be the leader. But I know when she hit 12, I'm like, I'm good. I can sit back and I can watch. Because by that time, they're already asking you questions and they're figuring things out on their own a little bit. And that's where I had to learn how to not talk about softball in the car.
Sure.
That's where I need to become the parent. Like, "Hey, how's your day at school? What did you eat at lunch today?" Or how's so and so, how's your friends, or how's everything going? Because if you beat them down with softball, they're not going to want to play it.
Right.
So, just I don't know. I just knew when she was 12, I'm like, you know what, I'm good. I did what I can do as far as I can go. Somebody else out there can take over. But hard, us as a parent, when you see something and you know that's not right, and you know you coach, you're like sitting there twiddling your thumbs like, that's not right.
Yeah.
But it's just a process. I mean, but definitely I don't mind coaching. I'd love to do it. If she decided to play a softball game, we'd love to have her. I mean, it'd be fun.
Yeah. It's just interesting because it's almost like there's so many different avenues with that. You know, if you know that you have your own child on the team, you're going to naturally be harder because you have more of an emotional attachment to it. They're going to read that differently when they get home. And then when someone from the outside sees that, sometimes it looks as though, you know, you're doing that intentionally because you want everyone else to see, hey, I'm harder on my own child than I am yours. And then it's tough too, because I've had situations where I had one of my college coaches, his son actually came and played for us. And there's a couple times I went over to the fence and I said, hey, coach, you know, what do you think? He's like, this is all you. I'm not coaching anymore. You guys. And I thought that was a great sign of respect, because here's a guy that's coached for over 25, 30 years, and he's definitely seen more than I am. But he understands, hey, it's not my team, and I don't want to overstep my bounds. And, you know, even though my son's on the team and I've coached at a higher level than you have, he had the respect to just step back and go, hey, you know, you guys do what you feel like you can do. So there's a lot of different ways to see that. But, you know, then there is that bond that if you're going through it together and it's workable between the two, sometimes, you know, depending on the temperament, it might be different. But, you know, I was just curious if that situation was going to come down the road. So with that being said, one of the questions that I also asked too is that where you're at right now, OCC, if you had an opportunity, not that you're going to throw yourself under the bus or anything, but is there anything maybe in the back of your mind that, you know, you could see yourself somewhere down the road being a head coach, you know, either at OCC, at another junior college? No?
I love doing the outside stuff as an assistant. Like I said, I'm not the most vocal guy, but just it takes me a while to get it. I still struggle a little bit talking to crowds, and I know it's here us one-on-one, but like when they talk to my players, I do make eye contact. I try to circle around, turn my body, turn my shoulders, not just focus on the wall. But
Sure.
That's one of my biggest struggles still. So, but no, I love doing all the outside stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love taking stuff off my head coach's shoulder. Hey, I'll go to that recruiting trip. You don't have to go home, be with your kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you need something done in the office. You need something faxed. You need something emailed. Hey, just email it, forward it to me. I'll do that for you. I just love doing all that stuff. You know what I mean? Just I enjoy it. But me as a head coach, no, I'm happy. I love what I do.
No, there's no right or wrong answer to that. I always ask just because out of curiosity, you know, and we've talked before about this, how when you transition from a position coach, recruiting coordinator, and assistant coach into that head coaching job, a lot of times that takes you farther away from what brought you in.
Right.
You know, sometimes it's really nice to just take your infielders or take your catchers or your pitchers or your hitters and focus on that part of it. And like you said, just know that you're taking your weight of the program off of the head coach to free them up to do all of the things that they need to do. And believe me, there's a lot of people I know too that don't want to deal with all of the off-field stuff that goes into head coaching, because you think as a head coach, hey, I'm more involved in all aspects of it. You're actually more involved in all of the things that aren't having to do with the field. So sometimes it's not the most rewarding part of the job, you know.
Yeah, I've seen it where sometimes where the head coach they're the bad guy, but in the end they're the boss.
Yeah.
They make the ship go. I mean, that's my boss. I'm gonna respect it, him or her, and this is what you want me to do. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, but me as a head coach, and I love what I do. I perfectly fine what I do. I mean, I'll drive anywhere. I mean, I love it. I mean, The biggest thing is just to make sure when our head coach gets to the field that she's focused, she has a plan, she has the format on the board, what we're going to do today, what we worked on the day before practice, situations we're going to work on, make sure all the girls know the signs. That's the biggest thing. Just keep them focused and try to work on our plan that we put together the day before. You know what I mean? It's not just 5 minutes before game time. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Change the plan because they're changing their picture. Hey, let's stick to the plan and see how it works. And if it doesn't, we can go to plan B.
Yeah.
So that's just my biggest thing. Just But like I said, definitely, I love what I do as assistant coach. I love doing all the background stuff. I'm totally fine with that.
Well, you've been around enough from the baseball side and now the softball side to know that any successful program, that coach has to have assistants, recruiting coordinators, volunteers, and all of the staff has to be in the same rhythm with them. You can't have one person trying to hold that mutiny and take over as a head coach, or you know that when your entire staff is on the same page and they're all after the same goal, it's going to be far more successful. So it's just a question for me, because I know coaching can be so transient, and when coaches have families, it's different when you're coaching and you don't have a family. Right. If you're single, you don't have kids, all of a sudden, I'll move here. Yeah, I'll try this job. And sometimes you get to a point where I like where I am, I like where I live, I like my kids in this school, and changing would be out of the question, or changing would be different.
Yeah, to hit on that, I think it'd be devastating for my little one. She loves her school. I mean, she loves her friends, and I mean, just to keep that that unit with the friends that she has in school, and to grow up with them. Like us as kids growing up, I probably have like a handful of buddies I still talk to in high school, and it's awesome. I mean, but then you meet that one guy, hey, we're really good friends, and you meet him like on Facebook, or you find him on Twitter or what have you. Hey, remember we did this? And their parents might have been military, or parents might have had another job in another state. And you sit there and be, what if we would have grew up together? This would have happened, that would happen. But just, I mean, I love Costa Mesa, I love the areas, close to the beach, got great places to eat. And I'll go back to food all the time, but I love it. I mean, just anything with that, it's not too fast, it's not too slow, it's beautiful, I love it. But Coach DeGaspi knows, and Coach Vanessa Miller knows I want to stay here till my hair falls out. I love it.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of those things too where, as we talked about a minute ago, in order to move up a lot of times in anything college athletics, it requires a lot of movement. And, I think it's good that there's coaches that are happy where they are, and they're going to stay, and they're going to try and build that program to the highest potential, because there really isn't a limit. I mean, you could stay with that staff there for the next 20 years and make all kinds of things happen that had never been done before in that program. And so, there is something to be said for being happy where you are and trying to make the most out of it, or being the best in that program, because it's the grass isn't always greener kind of thing.
Right.
So one of the other things that I usually like to do with coaches is I kind of give them an opportunity as we wrap up, and I give you a chance to kind of take the time to look in the camera, and any of the high school players that are watching, if you had to tell them something about your program, something about coming out to OCC, you just sat down in my living room, and what are you going to tell me?
The biggest thing is selling point. We have Starbucks on campus. We have dorms that get to be done in September. I believe we're the first California junior college to have dorms. We're actually, some people don't know, but they're building the Apple iPhone store on campus.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know everybody has an iPhone now. I got one. I love it. We have beautiful culinary school there. Like I said, I'm a big food guy. I've tried the food there. It's great. We have a little hot dog stand. Excuse me, in the middle of campus. It's great. It probably matches up to a good Angels or Dodger dog. It's amazing. We have our campus looks small, but we have between 25,000 students. It's a big campus.
Yeah.
And I can't say enough. It's beautiful. 15 minutes from the beach. We're the #1 transfer school in Orange County. We have a couple of girls in Northern California. We have a couple of girls at bigger schools. We have a couple of girls that just travel for academics. They didn't go on to play softball. We have a couple of girls that do go on athletic scholarships. Just come down and check us out. It's beautiful. I believe we play in the toughest conference of junior college softball in Southern California. I know people say that we don't, but honestly, I've been here. It's my 5th year doing junior college, and I love it. And I believe we have the toughest conference. That's us in a nutshell.
So, going back to that again, before we came on, we were talking about some of the benefits to players leaving the state because of scholarships and things like that. And you had mentioned that there were some benefits that maybe you had local in California for junior college students that might be looking for financial assistance.
Yeah, I believe in California, like at our school at OCC, we have a program called the Pirate Promise. If you're in the state of California, your tuition, your books is paid for. So that's pretty much off the table for your parents. But if you commute, I mean that's a little money that your parents gonna have to give you for gas or what have you, or food, or might have a little part-time job. 90% of our girls work. I mean, we don't say no to work. I mean, you got to work. You got to work. I had to work. So biggest thing is junior college, you can benefit from it. And it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's not second best. There's talent there. Sometimes you go to a 4-year and you realize, hey, you know what? I might have to redshirt when I come down to a junior college, come down to Orange Coast College and play for a year and you might get that scholarship offer from your dream school. You know what I mean? So it has its benefits. You know what I mean? You still get to travel. I get to fly everywhere, but you get to travel in a little school van, and you get to learn from your teammates. You might pick up a best friend, pick up buddies for life, or just a family unit. And like I said, it's fun. I mean, I played junior college, and it was the best thing for me. I had to mature. I know baseball-wise, I think I was okay. I only got better because I had to learn to be a better teammate. That was my biggest thing, and make eye contact with the coach, and really not thinking about what's going on at home, but in my practice. I had to really make that adjustment and be like, hey, you know what? I need to work on this if I want to be here. So, but that's the biggest thing. I mean, junior colleges, sometimes the talent's better than, sometimes you have the better talent of the junior colleges players out there. Excuse me, but you know what? We all need reps. We all need to get better. We all need to get that better mindset to make us stronger as a player, as a person. I mean, as a leader, maybe when you get that job. So it's it has its benefits. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's got a lot of perks. So I mean, I love it, and I love coaching there.
So what were the teams, or what are the current teams in your conference right now?
We have we play RCC. We play Florence Junior College. They're a powerhouse. We play Cypress. They're a powerhouse. Play Santa Ana College. They're very deep in talent. There's us, Orange Coast College. I'm having a brain fart right now. Those are probably the 5 top schools in our conference. We do play schools out of our conference, like Rio Hondo. We play schools down in San Diego.
Okay.
So it's, like I said, it has its benefits, and it's a tough conference. I mean, you can come out, hopefully when all this is over in the springtime, get a schedule on our website, occ.edu, just Google Athletics, and our softball schedules will come up. And it's very competitive. It's tough, and every team in our conference, they all have good players.
Yeah.
From everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we've touched on this before in other shows, is that just Southern California, traditionally Southern California, Texas, Arizona, Florida, those are all traditional hotbeds for baseball and softball. And, for whether it's Orange County, whether it's San Bernardino, whether it's LA County, I mean, there's no shortage of talent anywhere. Right. And it's just a matter for players to find the best fit for them and find a place where they can go and not necessarily play all the time, but go in an environment where you can grow as a player, because you can still develop things off the field that are going to help you improve on the field as well. So I don't think that, when we have players from the Inland Empire, that they should necessarily put any school out of the map. You're just trying to find the best opportunity and fit for you to just continue on your career. Baseball, softball, soccer, any sport is a process and a climb, and where I am now is definitely not where I want to be in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So just finding that right fit, being open to maybe leaving, commuting, leaving the area, getting out of my comfort zone as a student and a young adult is probably key for all of them, just for growth.
Yeah, that's very true. Like I said, we have a couple players. We have more than a couple players, 14, 15 girls from the Empire coming to OCC for our incoming commits to our school. And it's going to be a grind. It's going to be different. You're not going to wake up to mom and dad making you breakfast or, hey, it's dinner time, it's 7:30, time to eat. You're going to be in your dorm. You're going to be doing homework. You're going to be eating that top ramen with your tapatio in there, or Doritos or whatever. And it's going to be a grind. You got to find time to sleep. You got to find time to get your homework done. You got to find time to email that professor on time. You got to find time to get to practice on time. If you have a job, you got to be on time to that. It's like I said, it's definitely going to be out of the comfort zone, but once you get on the routine, it would be totally fine. And there's going to be struggles. There's going to be hard times. That's where us as coaches, we come in as, hey, we're your family too. We can help you.
Right.
We're going to do what we can to help you within the roles. And just got to remember your parents did the same when they were growing up. You know what I mean? They had the struggle. Sometimes, I got tough love from my dad. It was very hard on me, but it worked out. My mom was very tough on me. My grandparents were very hard on me, and just it worked out. You know what I mean? Just it'll work out. Just got to give it time and wanting to get better and to learn more, to make adjustments and go along with the grind. You'll be okay. You know what I mean? You have your teammates, you have your coaches, your mom and your dad are one phone call away. Your best friend may be in Arizona and at a different school, but hey, you can FaceTime with them. You know what I mean? Just to break up the monotony. It'll all work out.
Yeah. Well, it's just part of a life experience,
Right.
and that's what they're after. And that's what I think a lot of our younger players really, really need, is to get out there and grow. I think it's, junior college, as we've talked about, is an avenue for a lot of players to just see that 1 or 2 more years of experience and mature and learn to be out on your own. And that alone will open up so many more doors for you as an athlete, because you start to build that confidence and you start to see yourself in a different light, and you start taking ownership in your own career. So with that said, Coach, I want to thank you for coming out, making the drive. Appreciate you reaching out.
Yes,
Hopefully when we do a part 2, it'll be after a game. We'll catch you somewhere.
Sure.
And you guys will be back on the field and getting into normal routines again. With you being a coach at OCC, I don't want to miss an opportunity to kind of remember Coach Altobelli, who passed away recently. John was a good friend of mine, and I always enjoyed the conversations that I had with him when we were working at OCC. And so, with you being out here, that was something that I definitely wanted to do. So, a lot of great things there. It's a great campus. I always loved working there when we would go do events with the Baseball Factory. And again, for anyone out here in the IE, when it's 110, they're about 15 degrees cooler. So, again, it's not a bad place to have to run your miles or run your practices. So, again, I wanted to thank you all for tuning in. Thank Coach Ramirez for coming out and joining us.
Thank you.
Again, thank our sponsors, Chihuahua Cerveza, 100% Media, and Adam Schwartz Real Estate. So, until next Friday, we'll see you.